Okay, so I'm Lindsay Krumholtz. I'm the Director of Employment and Volunteer Management here at the Golden Scoop. My sister Amber is here. She's the President and CEO. And then we have two staff members that want to talk to you guys as well, just a little bit about what they do at the Golden Scoop. And then we're fortunate to have Sarah Hartware, who's the former president of the National Down Syndrome Society and helped bring the ABLE Act. So she's going to give you guys a little bit of information on that. So I'm just going to tell you how the Golden Scoop got started. I have been in the field for 18 years. Worked with a young man with autism back in the Olathe School District. I didn't know a lot about autism when I first started, and him and I made an instant connection. And actually, we're coworkers here at the Golden Scoop right now, which is really cool. So I had a little pressure from family to go and make more money, so I left the Olathe School District and went and worked for a local radio station for 2 weeks. And hated it. This is my passion, working with individuals with disabilities. So I went back to the Olathe School District, hoping I could work with the same individual that I worked with, and actually had a better opportunity to travel school to school and work with all age ranges. I wanted to learn more, so I went and learned ABA, which is Applied Behavior Analysis, at a small school here in Kansas City. Did that for a year and came across a BCBA that was starting a small business. And I was her first employee, and she had a full caseload for me. So I left that current school and went and did in-home therapy. I did that for 12 years. And about 7 or 8 years ago, my focus turned to young adults. So being in home, I was fortunate enough to work closely with the parents and the kids as well. So just talking to the parents, they're concerned what their future looks like. Where are they going to work? Where are they going to live? So I approached my sister, Amber, who has a business background, and I said, we need to bring something to Kansas City where we can provide meaningful employment for these individuals. So I did a little research online, and I heard about Biddy and Bose on the East Coast. Are you guys familiar with them at all? So they are a coffee shop. They're a family who has a son and a daughter with Down syndrome. We reached out to them about franchising probably 4 or 5 years ago. And I think at the time they were just getting started themselves, so we didn't hear back. About a year ago, they started franchising and are getting ready to open up their 14th franchise location, so which is awesome. So then we went back and we knew that Kansas City was so loyal to local businesses. So we're like, we can do this here in Kansas City. And it was just a coffee shop at the time. And shortly after I had heard about Howdy Ice Cream in Dallas, Texas, we had the opportunity to speak to Tom Landis, who started Howdy. He owns 13 restaurants in the Dallas-Fort Worth area and employed a couple individuals with disabilities at one of his restaurants. And he learned that they're more reliable, they're more trustworthy, and they're excited to be at work. So we went back and we were like, and he had so many success stories. So we're like, oh my gosh, should we franchise with Howdy? He was just amazing to talk to. And then Amber and I were talking and we're like, Kansas City's so loyal to local businesses. So we married the two. We married Biddy and Bose and Howdy Ice Cream. We actually thought we were the first in the United States to do this, but just this last week we ran across a ice cream coffee shop in Sarasota, Florida. So we're excited to start following them and see kind of what they do. We opened in April of this year. We feel like it was pretty good timing with kind of COVID, going away, and everyone was able to get vaccinated that needed to be vaccinated. The support was amazing. We had lines out the door. Our first 2 weeks, we were running out of ice cream, we were a little nervous about it. We were like, oh my gosh, are these people going to come back? And everybody did. So it really showed that the support from the community, especially this Kansas City community, was, out there to support us. So the Golden Scoop name came from a dance group that we attended pre-COVID. There's about 8 individuals that are employed here that were a part of the dance team. So we go to dinner and then we go take dance class from a professional dance instructor. And they were called the Golden Stars. So that's kind of where the name came about. So I have Ian and Austin here, and they're going to talk to you guys a little bit about what they do at the Golden Scoop. So Ian, do you want to go first? Yeah, absolutely. That'd be awesome.
My name's Ian Miller, and I have a background in English. I have a bachelor's degree from Pittsburgh State University. Um, immediately before this, I was working um, with the Kansas City YMCA through Youth Development Services. We provided an before and after school program, homework help, team building exercises, just basic programming for the kids. That was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that. And then immediately before that, I was working as a direct service provider, providing in-home care for a few clients with disabilities, which really got me interested in doing stuff like this because I have cerebral palsy myself. I've dealt with it my whole life, and just how it has shaped my perspective of the world. Uh, I look at people with comparable disabilities and different disabilities than I have. My aunt has Down syndrome, and being able to be around her has really, shaped my unique identity. She was actually the person that I worked with when I was providing those in-home care services. So when I heard about this place, it sounded really interesting, and uh, the support we've received here has been phenomenal. Lindsay and Amber and Pam and Jill are they're great and about meeting our needs, and so I really enjoy working here, and the support that we've received has been wonderful. So some of the things that I do here personally is I work the register. I have several years of cashier experience. I worked at Walmart a few years straight out of college, which was a good experience. Uh, you know, which is about all that can be said about it. But it was a good experience, and it's really helped me deal with customers and to be able to anticipate their needs and meet them as best I can. And then when I'm not on the register, I'll be working coffee, which I had never done before. The first day, I think I tried to make a latte, or and I ended up making basically hot milk with a tiny bit of chocolate sauce. But I've gotten much better at it, and now I can make chai lattes and other things like that. And then I'll also be on the ice cream counter, which is my favorite because you're basically right by the door and you're kind of the point man at the store, and I'm able to interact with the customers as soon as they walk in, and that's one of the best parts of the job is being able to interact with the customers. And I love talking to people, which is weird because I'm pretty introverted in my private life, but here I'm extroverted, and uh, it's been a great experience. Oh yes, yes, yes. That is something that we've started to do, uh, and so what they want me to do, because I have my bachelor's degree in English, I would love to do something with it. I've been trying to find something to do with it for the last 6 years. Um, And so I have been trying to get. I've been trying to find something to do with that, and I was put in contact with this local author, uh, and so we have a meeting next week, and I believe she wants to work with me on a collaboration on a book, which is pretty awesome, and And so I'm really excited to see where that goes. Uh, that's kind of the realization of a dream of mine is being able to um, produce my work because uh, one of my major hobbies is writing stories and writing poetry, and I've had several things published in small time publications. Um, and I think that's really amazing that the Golden Scoop allows us to not just work here, but to definitely advance our goals in other areas. I've also got a contact who is working on possibly getting me involved in the publishing industry, which is another dream of mine. Work in the publishing industry at some point. Um, so it's been a great experience, and for a variety of reasons. So, thanks.
Hi everyone. I'm Austin Dirk, and I joined in March, and I've had really a lot of other jobs that I've been doing before I joined in the Golden Scoop in March. And also, I'm also doing the Farmers, which is a program. I've been doing that, and so, but I really like working here. I really like it. So yeah, I help with the ice cream. Sometimes I do the help with the coffee, and I help with the different customers that come in, and I do meet and greet. So yeah.
Hi, I'm Amber Schreiber. So we're gonna next show you one of our 9 training videos that we put together. This was all part of a training program that we had set up that was 2.5 weeks long leading up to grand opening. We were a company called Team Cura, owned by an HR professional who's also our HR advisor. And we wanted to emphasize the importance of dressing for success. So, making sure that they're clean and dressed appropriately for work, understanding how to be an ideal team member, how to give and receive feedback graciously. So this video is video number 5. This is probably the most fun video that we have, and you'll see towards the end. So.
There are some expectations of Golden Scoop employees that help us create a stronger team, work better together with colleagues and leadership, provide excellent customer service, and create a more satisfying work experience for you, our valued Super Scoopers. First, continual learning is foundation for working at the Golden Scoop. We offer training in various ways: videos, small groups, one-on-one, reading, and coaching. We encourage you to seek new ways to learn skills and job tasks. Some of your training is required and some is optional. You will have a personal training help plan and to help identify as many different tasks as possible. Next, you can build trust and friendship with coworkers and leaders when you help us cheerfully. You can ask for help, and you can accept a manager or super scooper's request. How you ask and how you accept make a big difference. Let's see some good examples.
Maybe he would help me with cleaning of the tables, messy ones.
Jack to help. Jack needs to clean the tables, and Tori cheerfully says she will help. In this example, Amber, the manager, needs to have the syrup organized.
Hey, I've noticed that the syrups are out of order, so I'm starting to retrain all the employees on how to reorder them. Would you mind taking them and putting them in order by their flavor?
Okay, I got it, and I'll get back on.
Thank you, Jack.
Notice how Jack happily agrees to straighten. He also repeated back Amber's request. That clarified he understood. Repeating back is an effective communication habit and a characteristic of an ideal team member. Another way you demonstrate being an ideal team player is by finding something that needs to be done or a way to help and just doing it. Charlie saw a messy table and took the initiative to fold shirts. Cleaning tables and chairs are important for the shop's appearance. Follow Jack and Tori's lead of always looking for cleaning opportunities, and again, just do it. Graciously receiving feedback and hope for all of us to continually get better at those.
You are so great at meeting people in a friendly way.
Thank you.
Sometimes receiving improvement feedback can be difficult to hear. Keep this in mind. When a manager or coworker gives you feedback, it's coming from a place of caring. They want you to improve. When a manager gives you feedback, focus Focus on intently listening to understand what they are saying. And your best response is thank you for the feedback. Let's see how Austin does a great job of this.
Austin, I love how you're cleaning that side of the counter. It looks spotless. Can you make sure you get the entire counter just as clean?
Thank you for the feedback.
Great, thanks.
Now, let's see how Jack responds to Amber's feedback.
Thanks for the feedback. I'll repeat that with the customer orders.
Did you notice how Jack repeats back what Amber suggested that he does differently? This is very helpful to confirm he understood the feedback. Giving positive feedback to your coworkers is essential to building a strong team. Please look for opportunities to compliment and praise your coworkers. Part of our culture is for our managers to also provide lots of positive feedback to let super scoopers know what they're doing well. Here's what that looks like and what you can expect.
Jack, you did such a good job asking and verifying what the customer wanted. Great idea. Charlie, can you come help us hold the teacher? The next table today?
Finally, we work hard and take some time to have fun. Conclusion, you can help build a strong team by continuing to others cheerfully, receiving feedback, expressing positive feedback, and having fun. The results include you having a more satisfying work experience and the Golden Scoop will be more successful.
So that demonstrates our
There are some
culture.
expectations of Golden Scoop employees that help us create a strong.
That video helps demonstrate what we want our culture to be like and how it is today. We were able to get these videos fully funded through an organization called Kansas Works, and actually the specific fund was Johnson County Works Fund, I believe is what it's called. So they were very nice in doing that. What else can I say about the training? Actually, these videos aren't just going to be used for, or weren't just used for the 2.5 weeks leading up to the grand opening. They're going to be used constantly to remind our employees, and even as we hire new employees, what our expectations are of them. So it's a really good investment. Any questions? Yeah.
Also having, yes, certain comfort, enjoyment, and having coworkers that understand. If I can offer a second question, you guys, that the maybe 5 different things that employees of facilities get to do here: customer interaction, training on machines, working together. So 4 or 5 things that other than the 2 programs that you taught, not that doesn't exist in Metro really. Got multiplicity of skill sets, working with others that have something common with. I got most of this came to me from talking to John and Tori, saying that they exist in the school system so much. She was in school, but maybe today. My question is there another opportunity in the metro or region where that number of skill sets and experiences exists in one place that's also has so in terms of what you guys offer on a professional developmental level, are you ahead of the curve, top of the curve? Well, actually, I mean, any of you guys, yeah, and or Lizzie, but yeah,
Just through the grapevine. I mean, I haven't had any experience in the school districts or anything like that, but just hearsay is that there still is a lot of improvement that needs to be done in the school systems to bring this type of curriculum or experience into those types of environments so that they are ready for that next step in their life. I will say we would be more than happy to collaborate with any organization, any school district, and just kind of brainstorm how we can take our concept and our model and, you know, how we can develop their skill sets to prepare them for that next step.
Yeah, so speak to that. So when I'm a transition teacher in a high school, so I have young adults who, after they completed all graduation requirements, they are legally allowed to stay in school until they're 21. So I have the people who are 18 to 21 years old, and we focus pretty much wholly on vocational experiences like this, as well as independent living. So we'll, cooking, how to live as independently as your ability allows you to. But like you said, the opportunities are limited by our circumstance, and I work in Kansas City, Kansas, so we're kind of at the mercy of our community's resources, which are often limited.
Goes.
Oh yeah.
But they presented at several conferences here in the Kansas City area, like the Beach Campus Conference. They had a booth years ago. I know they've been at the Johnson County Resource Fair often to talk about their experience with their son, Joe. And they've also show expanding any kind of literature opportunities for kids and for young adults. I think it's fabulous. So that's really extraordinary. I had a question. I'm a preschool teacher, and I have parents that are seeking out my advice for college. The college program is really looking ahead, and I always am very mindful of those independent schools. So, from your perspective, what can you share about your experiences to help me, support my preschoolers so that they can look forward to great future experiences?
If you want that,
Yes. Yeah,
the
Well,
It is, so I can do that, yeah.
Question kind of piggyback off that. If you guys were looking for jobs before you found Select Golden Scoop, what was one of the biggest barriers for you? Like when you were working at a job, I mean, say you worked at Walmart or different places that you guys worked prior to this. What were some of the big barriers that you guys had that felt like kept you from being as successful as you could be?
Okay. Probably trying new things before I started coming here and then learning new things here.
So not having the support of other people to help you through trying new activities, or
Probably teaching, like them teaching me how to do it instead of trying to kind of like trying to do it through like for myself.
right?
So
So, from my perspective, I've had quite a bit of experience of employers not understanding my unique needs because of the rather unique position that I personally have employed in the kind of disability spectrum. I mean, I have a physical disability, but you might notice that my cognitive abilities aren't really perfect. I do have some cognitive deficiencies in some areas. I'm quite terrible at that. But for the most part, I present on a level that employers would see as something like most of their other employees, just to be honest, which produces kind of this cognitive dissonance because first of all, I understand what that means. Okay. So it produces that interesting, you know, where do you fit? Because I do have disabilities, and yet I have the mental faculties to be able to do that place me on this upper level. So they're not they can forget basically that I have disabilities, which has caused a lot of difficulty because I require physical accommodations. It's very difficult for me to stand for long periods of time. Um, and I can have somewhat of a shorter temper because of the pain that that causes. But that hasn't been an issue here because I'm able to demonstrate when I need it. Um, but in the past, employers have not understood that, which has caused, unfortunately, interpersonal difficulties. Uh, Thanks, girl. So being able to receive support for those unique needs that I personally have has been incredibly important. And having employers who understand those unique needs uh, has allowed me to be successful here in a way that I haven't had in the past.
So do you feel like you have more access to kind of just like the intrinsic natural supports that come with the environment of everybody being on the same willing to support one another in whatever their ability level is here, as
Absolutely.
opposed to
Absolutely.
those natural supports kind of slowly fade away in other realms of work.
Yes.
As you guys, I know training, I think you said, if you aim was to each employee understand strengths and weaknesses, take a break, let them know they take a break when they need to. So like now that you're a team of input, institutionally, how do you set it up to where that continues? Like with the training, how do you institutionalize what Ian just talked about, people's individual strengths and weaknesses and needs being also have staff. And, yeah. And I know you said that there's always a brief training you or Katie would have a degree and background here always to oversee that. Also, yeah.
And I will say too, our volunteer program and the volunteers that we have currently have been hugely helpful.
You just train them too, or
Yeah, so
okay.
we have volunteer orientations, and we had the application process closed, but now it's been reopened to allow for more volunteers. Um, yeah, we're trying to get better at having a volunteer, a one-to-one pairing, so that we can give them that individualized attention. And really, I think it will help them grow on their skill sets and really manage their behaviors and whatever arises in a better manner.
On the issue of people with learning disabilities coming out on their own, like Ian was talking about at Walmart, you might know about, a lot of you might know about it. Large percentage aren't supported as much, or not at all. I know somebody that does that for a living, um, but these stories make me think: how, what percentage of people don't have the support and at all, or partial support, or what percentage are well supported in this context?
And I know one of our biggest things is the program we have is awesome for what it does, but 90 days of support is usually not enough. And kind of like you're saying, having adaptive support through a business model like this seems to be helping people find more long-term success. Is that?
Yeah, um, with being in an additive movement type system, myself, multiple times I've occasionally been quite lenient when faced with situations like just more times than not. And so that 90-day limit is a definite impedance to success, and really it should be an ongoing effort. And of course, council-wise, not only with council-wise resources, um, which the government doesn't always understand, which can be quite unfortunate, because these members of our society are more valuable than people give them credit for, and they are not valued as much as they should be, which is quite unfortunate.
I have a question about. So you guys have BCBA's on all the anytime you have employees in the building, is there a BCBA present? Okay, that sounds great.
What's that example of BCBA?
Board certified behavior analyst. So is talking about she analyze behavior and creating plans to teach new behaviors or replace. I was gonna ask you with that, how does that work financially? Of paying somebody as a BCBA as well as being able to provide competitive pay rates for people with disabilities. Is that easy money?
I throw one example. I know Todd can talk. So a good example, the football season coming up, and through the website, talking to Austin, a lot of Chiefs fans, and So Austin and I were talking, and I thought it'd be cool to maybe show a Chiefs game here on Sundays. Presented this to Amber, and I made sure Austin was here when I did this. So one thing Austin pointed out was this place opens at noon on Sunday, which is the exact kickoff for the Chiefs games. So Austin, like that, pointed out that you missed the first part of the game. So it has to be like 11:30 opening. And I'm going to pitch right now that can't see March, the Eagles baseball team. Churches, black churches on Sundays would move back their services when March played on Sunday, so everybody could go to. So, but anyways, like Austin, that comment, which is probably not about, but important to one, I'm not pushing this, but important business idea, made a good point that you have to open early so people have time to get here.
So previous is, I don't know if you guys consider this when you know looking at other business models. Do you have employees working full 8-hour shifts, or do you guys shorten the shifts to be able to employ? Is the goal to reach as many people as possible, or to have a smaller cohort of individuals who are more? Yeah, that's the word I'm saying. You know, yeah.
So, with 2 hours, that first week, I have reached a lot of people. So 17 hours. We have completed that a couple of weekends. So we did have this transition where in the beginning, I feel like two staff here at high school. I basically did everything. We do every aspect of it, so we have staff. So we had to simplify hours a little bit to let the person that even work from the classroom have too many people here. In the beginning, when I wanted to front the door, employees were able to
Rules were out the window.
we have been to in the past where that was inappropriate. So talk to parents, if anybody wants to propose the hours a little bit, everyone is about 2 to 3 days a week, approximately for parents. That's just a simple rule that we have. That is a parents behavior events. We like to break this into family behavior events. So 1, family activity, and 2 is more hours. So it can always be a lot for one person and then 4 of us will all do small things together. So the days a week a little bit.
Have more locations.
Do you guys find that like financially stressful to decide to employ more people just from the perspective of paying more individuals as opposed to paying one gift or?
So we were fortunate enough to receive $1,000 grant for something that was great.
From an anonymous donor.
So obviously from what I mentioned, it's going to seem like financial reward from an anonymous donor is money to continue to grow. So that's how you grow is here. If we didn't have one-on-one teams, it would be money off of that.
And then Lindsay and our other registered behavior therapists are going to work with one of our board members, Dr. Ian Schwang, who's an MD, and they're going to start formulating an assessment plan or program where it's just a simple one-pager we're thinking, but just identifying those key performance indicators that we should be tracking because not only if they want to stay at the Golden Scoop for however long, we're able to see how they're progressing and then take them to the next level of making new coffee drinks or whatever that might be. But also for somebody like Ian, developing that profile so that when he does potentially transition to another employer, then that employer, we make it a very smooth and successful transition to that employer so they know the strengths, the weaknesses, like all of the data attributes that are important to know for them. So that's kind of what we're thinking of putting together. And we're going to start that in the next couple weeks. So then if that transfers to maybe the school environment,
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, that I don't know.
That's one of our biggest barriers. Once our students give us the opportunity to so incredibly limited, that it's difficult to pinpoint. Okay, this this young man has these amazing attributes. Where does that fit in our
Right.
community?
And then also asking them the simple question of what is your passion? You know,
Right.
what do you want to do? What do you dream big? You know,
Absolutely.
sky's the limit.
They
So,
used to track that. Let's say Ian's goals. The idea is to track that and then to show
yeah, that's
There's
exactly
employers.
the one-page
Here's the
assessment
progression.
or
One
whatever.
page,
Yeah, yeah. We don't want to do analysis paralysis,
Yeah.
kind of a thing.
But here's some scheduling that looking too busy or when or not, and then also with each employee, maybe something good for 2 hours, something for that is away data wise, but not overdoing it. To look at when business is busy, when it's not, where people fit in best, and put that all that together data, and then schedule it and individualize it. It's like, oh, so and so's good 2 days, 2 hours rather than 3. It's more standard at this point where these things. But so I was curious, ask you, when collecting data and making decisions, business background, if that's something you want to do, at least with listening to how much they're sold on what days and adjusting the schedule.
Actually, we from a data perspective, we could do a better job, like specifically at
You're
our.
busy. Don't put that on yourself.
No. I'm just saying we want to make the business fit them.
Yeah.
So, like with our POS system, for example, like we don't have it drilled down to the flavor of ice cream that people are. We just have ice cream. So they're just, if somebody comes in and gets 12 ice creams, they're hitting that button 12 times and that's it. So I mean, it would be nice to have that kind of drill down data set, but again, we're always thinking about them first and what's going to be the easiest, most efficient way. Now, if they are getting it, and again, that goes back to the analysis assessment, Ian could probably move on to, okay, and Austin, picking the flavor. So, and maybe as we see everyone get to a point where they can do that, then maybe we start changing the menu screen a little bit. But those are all ideas and thoughts, and we don't know where we're going to end up. We're just focused on them and making them successful. It's Square.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just didn't know if you guys used anything that had like pictorial indicators or anything like that.
Yeah. We do need to update that. Because we keep asking. Sarah Hartware's got an awesome presentation on the ABLE Act that we would love for you guys to hear. So we were fortunate enough to meet Sarah through one of our employees' moms like a year ago. Yeah, so Lindsay said Sarah Hartware is the former CEO, president of the National Down Syndrome Guild. She's a trailblazer. She's a go-getter. She's somebody you want on your side. I'm sure you all have probably heard of her. She's been in the political scene. But anyway, she was the one that put in the legislation in Washington, D.C. to have this ABLE Act or ABLE account for people with disabilities. So anyway, I will turn it over to her so she can give you more detail on that. So thank you, Sarah, for being here.
Of course. I'm totally and we'll put my slides in a minute.
Oh, sure.
I'm gonna share a quick video before we get started on the nuts and bolts of Able because this is way more fun and exciting to have a whole discussion and show it more visually.
And thank you guys so much for having me.
sure we have to get the doors open at noon. Or is it open? Oh, it's open. Yeah. So we're open for business. But thank you again. I'm the former president and CEO of the National Disability Society. I served in that role for a number of years. Prior to that, I ran our national advocacy and policy center and had the opportunity to lead the effort to get the bipartisan Achieving a Better Life experience, or the ABLE Act, passed on Capitol Hill. We worked with a very large coalition of stakeholders from the autism community, from the deaf community, from adolescents, etc., to help with this monumental legislation pass. It was my baby. I really drove this forward on Capitol Hill. We had no resources. I'm sure everyone's going to attest to this. When you have an idea that's really coming from families and coming from our advocates to be able to save for the future, it really was a labor of love, and we were able to accomplish this because of the personal stories and being able to take those stories and show Congress that people with disabilities want to achieve the American dream as well. I'm from Kansas City. I grew up here. I've had a best friend who happened to have Down syndrome and autism, and like these wonderful ladies, I got started as a disability support provider to Casey 20 years ago this summer. I was coming home from my freshman year of college to work with Casey to help prepare her for her transition from junior high to high school at Shawnee Mission West. And so that's what really inspired me to get involved in this wonderful community. But really, through my experience with Casey, saw firsthand the inequities people with disabilities face at every single turn. I mean, the red tape from navigating inclusion in schools to what happens after 18 to 21 with the cliff, and then of course, what happens when it comes to being able to pursue competitive integrated employment. And that's really what set me on this path. And I'm still heavily involved in a number of projects and initiatives related to disability today when it comes to employment, to housing, and of course what we can do to lift people with disabilities out of poverty and put them to work. And that's really what the ABLE Act is about. So rather than kind of go through all my slides, I want to show you a video that sums up what we did with the history of the ABLE Act and why this was so historical. And let me see if I can get it to work. This is my friend, Sarah Wolf.
I'm Sarah Wolf. I'm from Moscow, Pennsylvania, not Moscow, Russia. People with disabilities, Down syndrome, and other disabilities deserve to save money for the future, for college, for medical needs, and ABLE is for that. I authored a Change.org petition calling for Congress to pass the ABLE Act. Today, it has over 260,000 signatures in cabinet. Of course, it's very intimidating to meet Congress. My mom used to lobby with me. She died in February. She is one of those champions of ABLE. I feel like I have a mission now. We now have 74 co-sponsors in the Senate and 366 co-sponsors in the House.
The U.S. House has overwhelmingly passed a bill which approves the most sweeping legislation to help the disabled since 1990.
With the passing of this bill, people with disabilities can now open tax-free savings accounts.
It will affect as many as 54 million people.
It was really, really cool to see all these people come together and support something that is very important for people with disabilities. I will be standing right next to President Obama when he signs the ABLE Act into law this year. All I gotta say is just keep changing the world. That's it.
The New Life Foundation is stepping up to change the playing field for those of us who are living with Down syndrome. Instead that the numbers went down. So powerful the target on the most critical areas of cognition, memory. After we go through all of these disabilities as we passed it in 2014, in a divided Congress, I often say we got 85% of the entire Congress to support this legislation. We got how many senators and $2 to actually agree on something, and that was the ABLE Act. And we were able to, essentially what we did is we amended the tax code, section 529. If you're familiar with plans for children to save for college, we amended that program in the tax code to create the 529A or the 529 ABLE account. And in doing that, we were able to establish this brand new program to allow people with disabilities to save for their future. It's called the Achieving a Better Life Experience Act, or the Stevens Act Jr. Achieving a Better Life Experience Act. It's actually named after.
It's not catching up.
It's actually named after my friend Steve, who you see pictured here with his family. Steve was the vice chair of our National Down Syndrome Society Board of Directors. He wasn't a lobbyist. He had no experience on Capitol Hill. He was just a dad. And as you can see, he has two daughters there, Natalie, who happens to have Down syndrome, and Mary Rose. And the reason he worked so hard to get this legislation done is that he wanted his daughters to be able to save the same way throughout the course of their life. Steve suddenly passed away between the passage of the House and the Senate versions of this bill. And the reason why this bill is named after him is because he was actually one of the 5 parents sitting around the kitchen table that came up with this concept for the ABLE Act in 2005, 2006. A lot like probably the Golden Scoop, and a lot of the best ideas that come from public policy change and real systematic reform come from real people. And Steve was, after a local board meeting with the Down Syndrome Association in Virginia, the parents were talking about the inequities that exist in the system. I can say 401ks, Roth IRAs, 529s for my children who happen to not have disabilities, but for my children with disabilities, in this case, all the parents had children with Down syndrome, they could save more than $2,000, and they could earn on average $700, $800 a month before they put their Medicaid and their Social Security in jeopardy. And so these parents were mad. They were angry. They had young children. They had the same hopes and dreams to get a job, to go to college, to live on their own, to get married as they did for the children without disabilities. And so one of the parents said, let's do something about it. Let's introduce some legislation. And then one of the other moms, her next door neighbor, was a chief of staff to a congressman from Florida. So after this meeting, she marched right over across the lawn while he was mowing the lawn and said to my friend John, even though people with disabilities can't have more than $2,000. And like most people who don't kind of live in our world, if you will, their jaws hit the floor or hit the table and say, what do you mean? How is that even possible? And so he approached his boss, Congressman Andrew Crenshaw, and said, we need to do something about this. And that's really when the ABLE journey began, if you will. So Steve was the one dad of those 5 parents who really saw it through to the moment we were sitting on, and here's a little snapshot of the vote in December of 2014. The legislation passed 404 to 17 in the bill. I was sitting next to him in the gallery. It was probably one of the most incredible days. And we had a lot of our families, a lot of our advocates that really joined forces with us and really told their story with us for that very special day. I'm a policy wonk, but it ended up passing in the Senate end of the year tax extender package, so it got wrapped up into a larger bill. And this was the last piece of legislation that passed in 2014 in December, and then of course President Obama signed it into law on December 19th, 2014. So pretty historical, pretty exciting. But that was just the beginning of getting these programs up and running because it's completely a cultural change to be able to go to a family and an individual and say, now you can save. You've been told your entire lives, don't have this money in your child or your adult with a disability because you're going to disqualify them. Well, now through an able account, you don't put those benefits like SSI and Medicaid in jeopardy. And so it's pretty exciting. And it's just scratching the surface. The other thing I'll say before I kind of get into the nitty-gritty of the program is that after we passed the legislation, we had to go state by state because these programs are run out of the state treasurer offices or the 529 administrators. And so we had to pass state legislation after we got 381 out of 435 U.S. representatives and 78 out of 100 U.S. senators to co-sponsor this legislation. Since January of 2015, we've passed 49 state ABLE plans, ABLE laws, and we right now have over 40 ABLE programs across the country, including here in Kansas through the Kansas ABLE program, which is run out of our state treasurer office. So very exciting. It was definitely a long journey to get it passed, but it's just the start of supporting individuals with disabilities and their ability to work, earn money, and be able to save. And that's why organizations and employers like the Golden Scoop are such an important piece of this larger puzzle that we're trying to change. So what is ABLE? It's similar to, as I said, the 529 College Savings Program. And then it works with, obviously, as kind of a checking account, an investment vehicle. And then a lot of individuals with disabilities and families, the only option to save up until ABLE passed was through a special needs trust. And they're supposed to work kind of complementary in a hybrid fashion. The benefits of the ABLE accounts are ownership. The account is owned by the individual with a disability. That is really important for us from a self-determination perspective as we are crafting this legislation, that the individual should be able to control their account, how they spend it, and how they utilize it. The financial independence, this eliminates, and I'm sure you all can attest to this, some of the pressure that's put on an individual with a disability to spend down their money so that they don't lose their SSI and their Medicaid. Well, ABLE kind of fills that gap so that they're not forced to fluctuate on a monthly basis. Their benefits put those in jeopardy. So this is a really great tool to be able to save short-term or long-term savings. It's up to anybody, but it's up to a family to figure out how they want to use ABLE for the future. And then, of course, the tax benefits, just like the traditional 529, there are multiple tax benefits throughout the year with the ABLE account.
I have a question. Does guardianship affect your ability to open an ABLE account? So if one of your parents is taking guardianship over you, or do you still have individual ownership over that account?
We do. And it's up to the individual and to the family to decide how that guardianship factors in. What's different with the ABLE program versus the traditional 529 is that you can only have one account. With the traditional 529, you can have multiple accounts, grandma, grandpa, uncle, they can open up those savings. So it was really important for us. One, it was able to lower the cost of getting the legislation passed, but also it simplifies the process for the individual with a disability. Like, they don't have to go through a massive bureaucracy and red tape and then pay the Social Security and HTTPS waivers and IUPs, etc. So that the individual is in their name, and obviously you are bound in your family with guardianship as their account.
So it really has no bounds on the ability to open the account.
Exactly.
Awesome.
So a couple of nuances with ABLE. The individual with a disability has to have the disability onset happen before they're 26. And that really, in order to kind of qualify for an ABLE account, you have to meet the SSI definition of disability. That's pretty standard in terms of federal law. Now, I will say, the age 26 is we all know a disability can occur after the age of 26. There are efforts on Capitol Hill, bipartisan efforts, which I'm very fully supportive to increase the age from 26 to 46 and beyond, and I think that's really important. When we crafted this legislation, 2006, 2007, when we started working on it, we had to put that change in 2014 to get the lower the score and get this across the finish line. And this was one way to make sure that those individuals that were having that disability we are born with can at least qualify immediately. Yes.
And I mean, taking on that word develop. So, like, what is something that they missed after they're 26?
Okay. And the exception, great question. The exception for that is that you can get a doctor's note or a self-certification to go through that process. So I think one public example of that is MS. You were definitely born with a genetic condition to MS, and if you developed it after 26, you could definitely self-certify or get a doctor's note to open up your bank account. Yes.
I don't want to make it seem like doing your presentation.
Do it for me.
I would like to add to what you are saying and kind of piggyback off of my own experience. I mean, I've lived with my disability since birth, and I did become physically apparent and mentally apparent by the time I was 2 or 3 years old, which required my parents to switch from kind of this uh, normal cycle of development to this altered cycle of development because I had special needs. And I have, personal experience with um, these, different accounts. I actually just switched over to an able account myself
Awesome.
this last year. And so before the able account, I had experience with having to do that spend down. I would actually just have to spend money on stuff just to keep under that account, which did put undue pressure on me. It put undue pressure on my parents. It's like if you, I believe there was a grace period of like 30 days or something, where if you didn't spend down below 2,000, you would lose your support.
Mm-hmm.
Because I do receive some level of support because I have subsidized rent and other community supports which tie into that. Um, and that was always a bit nerve-wracking. Even I understood that limitation. And our society is unfortunately rather uncaring towards people with disabilities, which our previous system was a manifestation of. But with this system, you raised several really good points about the benefits of an able account because now I don't have to spend down my savings account because my needs quite much more than I ever had, and so I'm actually quite financially stable right now, which is awesome.
Great.
Yeah, really awesome. I'm able to support myself. I live in my own apartment. I pay my rent. I pay my own utilities. Until recently, I car payments. I wear a camper, and I was using it. It was just too expensive. I was paying for it. Um, but being able to have that additional support has been kind of life-changing. And so, thanks.
No, thank you. Thanks for sharing that. That's exactly what we wanted to do and accomplish for ABLE. I think our biggest challenge is, and thank you for pointing us all together, is getting the word out and making sure folks
realize that these accounts are a reality and how individuals with disabilities and their families should use them to overcome some of the archaic, outdated policy that still exists. When Lindsay and Amber and I sat down, I was like, let me tell you about ABLE and how it can plug into the goals and the work that you guys are doing to support employees with disabilities. So, as far as knowing if you qualify or not, I got, a family and their child was diagnosed with cerebral palsy when they were little. They're grown up now, but that person has a job, and they've heard differing. Yes, you can do that, and some other people have said no. Your child, being whatever, so you don't qualify. And so we're hearing two different things that don't know what the answer is. They absolutely qualify. They meet the definition of disability, and a great thing also about able to sure, and also you could probably attest to this as well, is that you don't have to be able to you can have the able account with or without Medicaid and Social Security. And some folks that are gainfully employed and making above that income limitation, or even having access to a retirement account, you can have able in your financial toolbox. Absolutely. That also, that we might have to look at that a little bit further. Sometimes the SSI, the compassionate use definition can kind of help support whether an individual with or without a disability qualifies. So we can kind of talk offline to see if those definitions might be a little bit just about the enrollment. It's very fast, very easy. This can be done online. I've put in here state of the Kansas program. We can share these slides with you as well. The fees are very, very low. In order to maintain these accounts, I put up here just some additional information about the Kansas program. And I've done it. I've enrolled a lot of our advocates with disabilities and their families through signing up to the ABLE program. It is very easy, very, very fast, and something that doesn't take a lot of time. So funding our account, the contributions can come from any source. It can come from grandma, grandpa, a friend, a birthday, Christmas, anything can go into the ABLE account in terms of how to fund it. You can transfer those funds from an EFT, check, payroll deduction. I'll get into that in a minute because I think it's important to the larger conversation that we're having here today. So it's very simple to get that account funded. Now let's talk about limitations, because to me this is also very exciting and such an opportunity, as you eloquently said, to be able to save and really, pursue that ability to have some long-term savings for an individual with a disability. So this comes down to, if you're not employed, you can save up to $15,000 a year, put $15,000 annually in a calendar year into your ABLE account. Again, that's what I just said. Those sources, those funds can come from anywhere. If you are employed, and this was a very exciting change that we worked on in 2017 in the tax reform package, you can save an additional $12,760 a year from your own paycheck into your ABLE account. We passed a provision in that tax package called the Able to Work, which allowed us to increase the amount you can contribute into your ABLE account on an annual basis or a calendar year. The lifetime limit in Kansas is $402,000, which is a lot of money. But again, if you think about the purpose of the ABLE account, this is really meant to be used on a daily or weekly basis for expenses related to rent, housing, utilities, job coaching, assistive technology, whatever it might be that you can relate back to the disability. So it's more like an HSA. It's going to be an account that fluctuates. And depending on where that individual is in their lifespan, they're going to utilize it in many different ways. So we're very excited about this and the ability to actually now create people as an incentive to go out and pursue a job. So like you said, after leaving through the school system, there's not a lot of options. Now we're creating a whole other incentive. So folks don't have to be limited to day programs, shelter workshops, etc., or just staying at home. You know, now the table's hopefully turning, or the tide is turning, and now we're encouraging people to go out and seek out meaningful work, something that they're passionate about. So very excited about those changes. So let's talk about areas of for like my kids, like IEPs developmental disability or something. Would that absolutely okay, absolutely. Anybody that's probably in an IEP that has a developmental intellectual disability would absolutely qualify. And that's another thing. We're really trying to get into the schools so that teachers and special educators understand more the benefits of these accounts and how they can be part of that kind of cultural shift at a very young age to encourage families to go out and open up an able account. So we get a lot of questions over the years on how you use your able account, what the expenses can be utilized for. So I put up this slide. I was bringing housing, rent, basic living expenses, transportation, education. We were talking a little bit about the gentleman who left post-secondary and college and skill-based learning programs after 21. You can absolutely utilize this as a way to say that those programs are expensive, just like traditional four-year college and university programs. And now this offers a great tool, even for somebody that's born with a disability tomorrow, to be able to save for college and or skill-based learning or college, whatever it might be. So that's really important. Assistive technology, financial management, health and wellness, gym membership, whatever you can kind of correlate back to that disability to support that individual through their life. So a little bit more about the disability related expenses. Another important point with the ABLE Act as it relates to benefits. So ABLE never puts any of your Medicaid benefits in jeopardy. The only exception to federal benefits, that's kind of a nuance in the legislation, is what I call the SSI limitation, the Social Security income limitation. So once the account reaches $100,000 in assets, it's kind of up to the individual to decide, are you going to kind of spin down and keep under the SSI threshold and put those benefits on hold? You don't go off the program, your check is just suspended, or are you in a plan of life where maybe you're not needing that SSI touch, and the important thing for you to do is to increase the amount of money or assets that are in the account. I often give the example of maybe a 4 or 5-year-old who happens to have Down syndrome who wants to pursue a post-secondary program when they're 18, 21, 25, to help them get career ready in their 20s. You may want to basically save as much assets as you can because these programs are expensive and you're not at a point where you need that SSI check. But some of our adults who are living independently or living on their own may need that SSI check and choose to keep under that $100,000 threshold. So it really is about independent choice, flexibility, and what's best for the individual. It's an important point in that last thing, and I always like to profile my friend Ann here, Gerhardt. Ann's dad was board chair for us at the National Down Syndrome Society for a long time and worked very closely helping get this passed. I helped them launch the stable program in Ohio. It was the first program to launch 5 years ago this past June, and Anne is the first able account holder in the entire country. So pretty cool. This is the moment they hit go on the able account. It still kind of gives me goosebumps a little, but this is what Anne this is what Anne wants for her future is to be able to, deposit her paycheck into her able account. Her grandparents help her. She wants to use the stable account to obviously buy a new laptop, and eventually her long-term financial goal is to buy a condo, to live with her boyfriend. She's married to make that happen. But thank you for sharing your story because these are real reasons we created this program and worked so hard to pass the legislation so that folks can use it on a daily basis to make changes in their lives. So I'll stop there. If there's any more questions, I know we took a lot of time going on.
We had a parent orientation here before we opened officially. It was the end of our training. And we had Tom Tracy, who used to be the administrator of the ABLE accounts for the Kansas State Treasurer's Office. And about 80% of our parents did not know about the ABLE accounts. Yeah. And our first training, and a lot of them have since signed up because they do pay above minimum wage, but also some have until production, and so it just goes out to their paychecks. Yeah. The first 2 weeks, we divide them between staff members. The first 2 weeks, they would make over $500 in tips, had it on their paychecks. The families who weren't a part of the ABLE had to make them the benefits. So we tried to simplify it a little bit, but since then a couple of them have joined.
Thank you, bye.
Thank you, Sarah.
Too. So, just so you guys know, I will be emailing the presentation and the contact information. So, you guys can have contact with us.
Sarah, do you want us to send her your slides?